Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Connect with KB. It is so great to have you tuning in as we talk about business, education, leadership, and all the wonderful things that connect us to each other. This segment is brought to you by Marketing Resource Group, your full-service strategic communications firm, and the Aerospace Industry Association of Michigan. You can learn more about MRG at mrgmi.com. Barron Industries is a member of the Aerospace Industry Association of Michigan and has been delivering proven high-quality solutions for over 30 years. Serving the industries of automotive, defense, and aerospace, Barron Industries helps customers create value by delivering timely solutions, providing turnkey processes, never compromising quality, and forging relationships that help turn concepts into manufacturable products. They are headquartered in Oxford, Michigan, and joining me today is the President and CEO, Bruce Barron, to share about their commitment to Michigan and their continued work in servicing automotive, defense, and aerospace. Thanks for joining me, Bruce. It's great to have you here.
Kristen, it's great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to start with the Barron Industries story. Introduce your company for me.
Sure. Thank you. Well, I am proud to say that we're entering our 98th year as a family being in the metal casting business in Michigan. So we're a longtime Michigan family that started out in Detroit. Producing cast iron and ductile iron castings. Back then, in the beginning in 1923, these were very large parts, 500 pounds up to 60 tons, and primarily for the emerging automotive market back then and the tool and die sector of it. And I only have the stories from my father about during the Depression times when my grandfather was delivering castings on a stake bed truck and at the Ford Motor Company, and Henry Ford would pay him in cash in 1930 during the Depression, because that's how you did business. And you come up a little bit more to modern times, and in 1984, my father, Paul, saw the opportunity to get involved in the smaller precision casting business, the investment casting, as they call it, business, and purchased an existing company in 1984. And I was working, I'm a Notre Dame grad, don't hold that against me, but I was working for a chemical company in Chicago, and my father was telling me about this precision casting company he was going to acquire, and they were really struggling because they had lost the two owners to untimely deaths, and he was contacted by an attorney, are you interested in this company? It sounded great, and I literally left my job, drove home, showed up for his first meeting with the remaining 9 employees on Monday morning at 7 a.m., and he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm coming to work for you, because I don't think this is such a good time." And I said, "Well, who's going to work harder or cheaper?" He says, "Good point." And he allowed me in, so to speak, and I went back to Chicago, sort of turned in my notice with a great chemical company I was working for, and came to work with my father here at Barron Industries in March of '84. And so today we've evolved from a small 14,000 square foot building, and we were primarily automotive supplier at the time, to now we've got 3 facilities and 65,000 square feet, and 60% of our business is in the defense and aerospace industry. And actually, by the end of next year, it'll probably be closer to 80% total. So we really made a 180-degree turn starting in the mid-'90s, where we recognized that the opportunities, I think especially for a metal casting company here in the United States, when we started to see lots of foreign competition for business, especially in the automotive industry, that the commercial and defense aerospace, as well as the land-based defense industries, were good industries and markets to be in as a U.S. manufacturer, because a lot of those items are pretty much Buy American type products, and so we focused on those markets. And today you've got an amazing sector of business that has emerged in Michigan, the aerospace industry, right?
Absolutely,
and,
yeah.
And we've got it's 600 or 700 manufacturers in the state that manufacturers too that provide components into that industry. And so while we're maybe overshadowed a bit by the longtime automotive, what we're known for in the state of Michigan, I think what's really happened over the years, because we went through it, is a lot of manufacturers had capabilities that were needed in the aerospace industry. And as the production ramped up, with Boeing for aircraft and GE for engines, and they were looking for suppliers, they were able to find them here.
Well, you're absolutely right, Bruce. We have talked about this previously in different podcasts about aerospace and the opportunity to diversify. And I think that out of automotive has created so many of these opportunities for Michigan. How does Michigan remain competitive with these industries? I mean, we certainly have the talent, I believe, to be able to really strengthen aerospace.
Well, we do, and what I think happened is that we just sort of slowly segued over into the aerospace industry. And I think it started a lot with aerospace tooling to set up the big wings and put them together. And we had all this great tool and die capabilities. And when things got slow in the automotive, they started shifting over into aerospace. And then it just sort of transferred to folks that had other capabilities here. And the thing that I always like to tell and my customers realize is that we have every process you could possibly need to produce an aerospace part here in Michigan. Because of the long-standing automotive business, I'm in the metal casting business. I make a casting, I machine a casting. But I have to send it out, and I got to get it plated or painted or coated, and sometimes with very special, fairly exotic coatings and processes. But I don't have to ship my parts, all around the U.S. to the few folks that are available to do those processes. We have them here in Michigan. Everything's like within an hour drive. So what I don't do internally, I've got local sources for a lot of the special processes required by the aerospace folks. And then, I think people think, aerospace and automotive is very different, because, especially maybe because of the quality that's required or the severity and the importance of the parts that you make in the application of something that's flying up in the air. But I got to tell you that the automotive, quite a while ago, really started that big push towards quality improvements, lean manufacturing, and putting things in place that are all part and parcel of what you need to have installed in your organization to be successful in the aerospace industry. So making the transition over to aerospace and all of the quality requirements and processes really was not difficult if you were already sort of ingrained with those, meeting all the quality needs of the automotive. So you've got folks that have the quality mindset. You've got all the different processes. It's amazing. We're just a small company, right? We have 80 employees here, but I've got 25 to 30 suppliers for special processes in the state of Michigan that most folks would have to go out of state to get that work done. So I think that local supply chain and already having the quality mindset for productivity and lean manufacturing is what makes us very competitive in that market in Michigan.
You bet. How then, I suspect that with those processes in place, that with this COVID-19 environment, what were some of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in the last couple of months, or I guess maybe over the last 6, 7, 8 months?
I know it's going on and on here.
It is.
Well, I think, being an essential business, we never closed down. We were open every day, 24/7, which was great, but it was also a great challenge. First, in the beginning, it was an HR challenge because nobody knew anything. And while we're essential and folks had to come to work, they're questioning, why am I coming to work? So a lot of one-on-one engagement with all members of the company was needed. I said I haven't been coming in at 4:45 in the morning, every day for a long time, but day 2 of the lockdown, I learned I need to be here when every employee walks in the door. They need to see me. I'm here with them. I'm checking their temperature. We're putting everything in place. Well, after a few months of that, everybody got comfortable with, the family of that we are here and coming to work and feeling safe and feeling secure. But we still had to deal with anytime anyone has a symptom of any kind, whether it's a cold or an allergy or whatever, you had to go into quarantine. So you're dealing with absenteeism that's higher than usual, working a lot of overtime to make it up. And in the first few months, that was really the challenge because we're supposed to stay open and stay on schedule. Today, number one challenge for us is actually hiring people. We have a hard time. We have a lot of job opportunities here, skilled and unskilled, on-the-job training, you name it. And we get a lot of applications to all of the advertising and things that we're doing, but we're just having a very difficult time, and a lot of my peers are saying the same thing. And so I think number one challenge today is I think there's jobs available. We need people.
Well, when you say that, Bruce, and you talk about qualifications and skilled and unskilled, what is it that's amiss then in regards to the qualified person that you need or people?
Sure. Well, I think in our business, because we're in metal casting manufacturing and machining, a lot of high-end CNC machining, we sort of have two groups of folks on the manufacturing side. We have more unskilled labor, and we do all the training here in-house, and basically you just have to be a healthy person willing to work, and we'll train you in what you need to do. And then you have on the skilled side, machining, CNC machining. We're really lacking a talent pool out there of folks, and I'm on an advisory board with Oakland Schools here that's continuing to promote career paths that are maybe non-traditional with the high school kids to get into the skilled trades like machining, and we've apprenticed a couple of the kids here. They're great kids. Unfortunately, I spend a year or two training them, and then someone like Williams International goes and hires them because they can pay them a lot more money than I can. Yeah. But we need those skills, those trade skills, to continue to be developed. And I think I just would like folks to, if they're looking for work and they're out of a job, and maybe this isn't something that they've done before, is to, don't be so afraid of it. I think most companies are very willing to recognize that if you have a good work ethic, that's what you really need, and a willingness to learn, and we can provide everything else to you that you need.
I hear that over and over again with manufacturing, and an opportunity for people to come in and learn a trade and to get quality education right there as they learn from the people who are around them, and an opportunity to grow professionally. So I applaud that, Bruce. I want to talk a little bit about the Aerospace Industry Association Michigan and your relationship with them, the important tools that they are providing to advance aerospace in Michigan. How has that relationship worked for you?
Well, I think it's been key. Tony Bernacci and then the executive board there, when they put AIAM together, I think it was back in 2017. It really wasn't that long ago. What it's really done is it's kind of brought all these companies together under one umbrella that can actually now represent and sort of put forth the big picture of all the varied capabilities that all of us manufacturers have. And while we're all out there promoting ourselves individually in what we can do, we've got, a trade association here in Michigan now that has kind of pulled us all together. So it not only serves as sort of one voice for all of us in Michigan, but it's also allowed us all to network with each other. I've met people and companies with capabilities I didn't know about in the state, and we're actually doing business back and forth with each other now, right? So it's created its own commerce within these 600 to 700 companies, and then I feel proud to be part of an organization that is getting out to the rest of the U.S. and to the real big guys within the U.S. I mentioned Boeing and GE, but the folks overseas too, like Safran and Airbus and others that are saying, hey, here's capabilities, here's capacity, And I agree with Tony's vision that what we want to be is not number 2 in the nation in terms of aerospace capabilities and revenues, but number 1.
You bet, absolutely. And I so admire the work that Tony and his group do. When you talk about the industry and you talk about Barron Industries, where do you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
Right. Well, except for this exact moment where maybe the commercial aerospace is slowed down a bit right now, but actually defense aerospace sector is kept very, very strong. We will be at least double the size that we are right now. And I say that because a year and a half ago, I bought a new building across the street. I put $2 million of equipment in the last 18 months. All this planned pre-COVID. But there's going to be significant growth and then stabilized levels of business for the next 20 years in the aerospace industry. So we've positioned ourselves to be able to grow with the industry. And it's not just our size, but I think that, two technology-related things are going to be different than they are today. One is that additive manufacturing that's been around for a long time, using computers and equipment to build parts, directly by additive methods. It's been around for 20-plus years, but it hasn't been highly commercialized on a production basis and competitive in production. It's been a great prototype method. Now we're seeing it getting close to being productionized, and we're keeping our eye on that very closely. We want to make investments in that equipment technology and the people to operate that equipment very soon as the cost of the equipment and operating it and the demand for those type of components grows, and it is. So I think that's going to be a change that if you walk through our plant today and you come in 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a lot more additive manufacturing taking place. For production components.
You bet. Bruce, I got to let you go. Our 15 minutes went by really fast.
So more automation, more highly trained and educated folks you're going to see in every position here to operate that equipment. And I have a very strong positive outlook for the future once we get over this pandemic, Kristen.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
I'm so glad you joined me, Bruce. I want to thank my guest, Bruce Barron from Barron Industries, and to today's episode sponsor, Marketing Resource Group and the Aerospace Industry Association of Michigan. I also want to thank my supporting sponsors, Marketing Resource Group, Dowding Industries, White Law, Governmental Consultant Services, AF Group, AT&T, and the Loomis Law Firm. You can connect with me at connectwithkb.com. And until we connect again, go live your best life. I'm your host, Kristen Belter.